Hey, good morning. Good morning out there in WLUW, live from the Heartland Listening Land. This is Michael James. I'm here with Tom Clark.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Tom. Katie Hogan is off doing work in the community around immigration, and I hope she has a wonderful day. We are here in the beautiful studios at WLUW downtown, and we have a couple of wonderful guests coming up. We're going to have Brian Gladstein, Executive Director of Illinois Common Cause, and we're going to have Illinois State Senator Daniel Biss. And we'll have some interesting conversations, so stay tuned. Tom, what do you got?
Happy birthday, Chicago.
Oh yeah, happy birthday to you. 180.
180. And we'll talk a little bit later about what that might mean. And, you know, it's only 20 years away from 200.
I was reading the New York Times this morning, and I noticed that the students at traditional black colleges and universities are up in arms about the meeting that their president had with Trump and Betsy DeVos the other day. Just calling your attention to that.
Well, I think that some institutions are, trying to pay attention to the office, and when the office calls, they respond. And who knows, maybe there'll be this opening or two in a spare moment when the president goes out in the hustings and is, talking with real people. But yeah, there's going to be a reaction, and I think that's part of the dialogue we're in now, is he pushes out and we push back, because we need to be about disruption and resistance right now.
We had a benefit for our radio show recently, actually last Sunday over at the Red Line Tap next door to the Heartland Cafe in People's Republic of Rogers Park. We had a great time. We had a wonderful lineup of music. Our co-producer, Lynn Orman, who was down at the Blues Museum in St. Louis this weekend, really helped put together some great entertainment.
Next year we'll do even better marketing, so more of you know about this, but we had a wonderful crowd and raised a little money to keep our engineer and equipment going. And by far the biggest surprise, mostly because people didn't know how talented he really is our engineer, Norman Chin, who, by the way, plays every week in Bridgeport. We'll maybe get him in here to tell us later about when his next appearance is. And of course, is also involved with Lumpin' Radio down in Bridgeport, so we really appreciate him helping us every Saturday morning. But I'll tell you, he keyboarded in a way that no one else expected.
Dave Brubeck, he was playing.
And then he accompanies Lucy Smith in a couple of very sweet bluesy pieces. The afternoon had a blues tinge to it, and I'll just quote my Chinese students who showed up. We came, we stayed, because we've never seen anything like this in Chicago, much less China. Do you do this every week? That was a lot of fun.
Something else. Yeah, we had a great time.
The rest of the musicians from Corky Siegel on down, who we'll also be talking about later. It was a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, and thank you again, Lynn, for getting all this performance together.
So, Tom, one of the things that's buzzing around in our neighborhood is the threat of more charter schools in the 49th Ward. After we had won with over 60% a referendum calling for no new charter schools and no charter school expansion in the ward. Lo and behold, the word is out there that 25 applications are coming into the Chicago Board of Education, and that Joe Moore is talking to 2 possible new charter schools in our ward.
The Chicago Math and Science Academy, which is a highly rated school but under federal investigation. Think Turkey coup. Look it up online. They want 100 more seats next year. And a new charter school, which many think ought to be a private school, is also being proposed. I take some solace in the fact that we have made it clear that 49th Ward doesn't want any more charters. We want to support our neighborhood schools that are already there, that have undergone severe budget cuts. And probably most importantly, I don't think the current school board is going to have money to open up any more charters. And so I'm taking some solace in the fact that since CPS is broke, none of these proposals are going to go through, or that there may be others that will be more qualified than the already saturated Rogers Park school market.
Well, we hope you're right, because 100 students moving out of public school into a charter school will mean a budget cut of roughly $500,000 to the school that loses students.
Another threat our neighbors in Rogers Park are facing is with the travel ban and other disruptions to immigration and deportation and all that. We've been organizing to protect our neighbors who are feeling threatened. And as we speak, Reclaim Chicago, A Just Harvest, And Network 49 are launching a canvas this morning against hate. It's happening in other places around the city, but in Rogers Park, 3 or 4 organizations came together, and that's a result of a phenomenal meeting that happened a couple of weeks ago at the Living Waters Community Church, where we expected maybe 100 people to show up, and almost 500 came.
Yeah, I know there was over 420 people signed in.
So this is a process of identifying today who in our neighborhood may be feeling threatened, and to begin to let them know what backup we've provided in terms of sanctuary, homes they could live in, a phone network if kids find out their parents have been picked up while they're away at school. We're going to try to take care of our own, because this also is disruptive, and we don't know what's happening the next few weeks as travel bans and other things get executive ordered. We're going to be ready in Rogers Park.
That's good, and other people are moving on that in other communities too.
Another little Network 49 piece. We had over 50 people show up on a Monday night to hear about the Department of Justice report on Chicago police accountability.
What was that woman's name?
That was Sheila Betty, Northwestern law professor, who gave a phenomenal
She
hour-long.
used to be with the Southern Poverty Law Center. She was on fire.
CAN
Very
TV
clear.
will be airing this program if you want to check it out. It's a lively hour. I know that sounds odd, from a professor who really lays out the 4 major threads in the report, and given that the federal government's not likely to follow up under the new regime, what we might do on a local basis to make sure the mayor and the police department actually institute some of the reforms that were suggested. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on CAN TV Channel 21, Monday night at 6 p.m. on CAN TV Channel 27, and Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. on CAN TV Channel 27. We also have a link on the Network 49 Facebook page that you can look at it anytime.
Moving right on up to some national issues with international implications. Jeff Sessions has recused himself from looking into Russian ties to the Trump campaign.
But they want to make sure that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, who were seen in pictures in New York with Russian officials, that they're investigated too. I think the operative verb in that last sentence is seen, as opposed to our just finding out about Trump ties to Russia, or at least we suspected of it, we're just seeing more and more evidence. To my mind, the biggest framing of this issue that no one has suggested is, if this one's not important, why was Benghazi being investigated 7 times so important?
I never really paid that much attention to the Benghazi investigation, but I'm going to do a
Well,
little
it's so much
background.
more important than whether or not we had, had the election fixed by the Russians, right?
Apparently so.
So I just want to throw back at the Republicans who insisted that Hillary had done something wrong when 4 diplomats lost their lives, unfortunately, after the chaos of post-Libya, why this isn't just as important to investigate. I'm just asking.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what they say. You've got something here about Intel. I don't know about this. Do you guys want to fill me in on that?
Well, there have been rumors that the intelligence community, upset as they are about how the new regime has sort of both blasted them for bad intelligence, for feeding fake news, for being responsible for leaks, when I think it's the administration's own folks that are like a colander in the way that they treat information. I just think that they're beginning to feel it. They're beginning to feel the unraveling a bit, so they're doing a lot of, look at that squirrel, to divert us from what's really going on. And I think by and large it's working. When you do 4 a.m. Tweets, you tend to take over the news cycle, even if it's not news, even if it's all fake news. So
Well, speaking of non-fake news,
the story, which I got away from, is that the intelligence community apparatus may in fact be organizing against Trump because they're concerned actually about national security and how his big mouth and his tweeting thumbs are really hurting the country. And they're concerned about it, and this is actually one issue where I thought we could have actually maybe had a conversation with Mr. Trump, believe it or not, because I have issues with the intelligence apparatus, beginning with
yeah, I never really rooted for
Bay
the
of
CIA.
Pigs, Gulf of Tonkin, you want to name a few others? Good intelligence on Iraq, WMDs. Yeah, that intelligence community has always been right on telling the American people what the real story is. So I think there could have been an interesting dialogue until his kind of executive hubris took over, and it's going to hurt him. I don't see how he gets out of this. I think
Well,
it's
we
more a
shall
matter of
see.
time.
And we won't say who we're rooting for.
Can we do a little bit about spring training before we get
No,
into
that's what I want to get to. What do you know? I know that apparently the Sox have been winning some games.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about the Cubs. What do you got?
The Cubs have a lot of strength, and they seem to have this team spirit, and it's just a wonderful shot of hope amongst the sunshine we haven't had enough of this winter, though it's been warm, to be able to pay attention to what seems to be still a team having fun with each other, which is kind of rare in professional sports these days. We'll see if they can carry the championship through another year. But
Well, I'm going
the
to root
South
for
Side is a pretty spunky team in a year of rebuilding.
I'm going to be rooting for the Cubs unless they're playing the White Sox. Just so I'm on.
Well, that's awfully nice and fair of you, Michael.
Good deal.
I appreciate it.
And the Bulls, they've been fun to watch. Got some new people. I'm missing some old people. We'll see where that goes. So let's get down to some real stuff. Do we have a little music now?
I thought that we could do a little bit of a ditty that kind of sets the mood for why community public radio and public affairs conversation are so important, particularly in these times. Nolan?